everybody, Erica here. So something I've seen posted about a couple of times in my private Facebook group, which is Toddler and Older Sleep Q&A, is a phenomena where kids go to bed at bedtime and then wake up in the middle of the night for an hour or more, almost like they forgot that it was bedtime and decided just to take a long nap in the middle of the night instead. So this phenomena is called split nights, and you can tell it's occurring when this happens persistently. Again, your child's awake for an hour or more at night. They wake up in a good mood, and almost nothing that you try to get them back to sleep works, even things that you know typically you think would work. So to put it simply, what is most likely, but not always, happening is that your little one is just not tired enough to sleep all through the night. Now, this might be due to napping issues. So this can happen when your child is not napping and you try to compensate by putting them to bed earlier. And then this happens on a repeated basis. And what can happen is that instead of waking up earlier and kind of adjusting their sleep time, they will just start sleeping in later in the morning too and get more time in bed than they can actually sleep. And so they're shifting that awake time from the morning to the middle of the night. Another scheduling issue that can cause split nights is if a child is taking too long of nap in the middle of the day, or the nap is too late in the day. And so then by the time bedtime comes around, again, they just aren't tired enough to need a full night's sleep. And that awake time is again shifting to the middle of the night. So in both cases, you want to look at the schedule. Make sure that naps are early enough. Make sure that they're not too long. Look at the wake windows. And also ask yourself if there's a chance that the situation with skipped naps and early bedtime occurring is happening. So fix the schedule by looking at your wake windows and also looking at the age appropriate amount of total night sleep. So that information is all on different blog posts in my website. But then set the appropriate bedtime and stick to it. Also, if your little one is sleeping in later in the morning than they should be, according to how much sleep they need, you're going to need to wake them up in the morning too. Now, this is going to be hard because your child is not going to stop waking up in the middle of the nights right away. So you're probably going to be tired and you're probably going to want to sleep in to get that extra sleep. And you might think they need that extra sleep. But if you want to get them back on track, waking them up in the morning is going to be an important component of getting them to stop doing the middle of the night wake ups. You want to shift that awake time to the morning and the day like it should be. In order for this to work, if your child is still napping, you're probably also going to have to make sure that naps are happening consistently if you can. So whatever you need to do to make that happen, naps can be a lot trickier than nighttime sleep because the sleep drive is lower than it is at bedtime. But, work with your daycare provider if you can, figure out why they're not napping at home if they're not, and see if you can make naps happening so that they're not overtired and they're able to make it to a decent bedtime and aren't falling asleep earlier. If you can't seem to make naps happen on a regular basis, then I suggest doing just a couple early bedtimes per week so that they can catch up on that sleep debt and not trying to do an early bedtime every day. It really shouldn't take more than a week of an appropriate schedule to get sleep back on track and stop those nighttime wakings. If you've done all of this and none of it's working, then I suggest figuring out if there's maybe a medical reason why your child isn't sleeping at night and looking into it further. But try these tips first and hopefully you'll get sleep back on track. Thanks, everybody.